We are not that. Do not bring that up. If you bring that up, I'm blocked.
Dude, I was
I'm
waiting for
taking you
us
off
to. I was
camera
waiting for the
right now.
countdown.
We
Yeah,
are,
I was waiting for that countdown to kind of slide it in there.
yeah, we are live. If anyone brings up the Bears game, they are no. But no, good morning, everyone. Oh, Dennis is back. He got his camera working. So good morning, everyone. Mojo Mindset, we got Harden Trade Better, and we got new guest on. We got Dennis here. So
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Good
man,
morning.
thanks for hopping on, man. So why don't you give my audience a quick um fill in about who Dennis is?
Who I am. Oh, great. You should have told me this. I didn't know this was going to be an interview type thing. But um, so I'm a retired Marine. I retired in 2019, and I think just like most normal folks, you think just do the grind, put your 10% into a Roth IRA or whatever, or 401k, and try to get a match, and then hopefully after 40 years you have enough money to live for the rest of your life. And that's so very similar story to probably most folks. um, but then in this year, 2024, um, when I did my taxes, because this was the catalyst of me getting into real estate. I paid a ton of taxes. It was an insane amount. And I got a really good job, so I moved down to South Carolina. I was making a lot of money, but the taxes just crippled me. Like, I might as well just stayed where I was and making less money. So, but that was the catalyst. I was like, okay, there's got to be something. So my knee jerk reaction was to like just have them take more taxes out of my paycheck, right? Like, so I don't have to pay a bunch at the end of the year, because I not only was I paying a bunch in the middle, in throughout the year, I paid a whole bunch to the federal government when I did my taxes too. So it was just ridiculous. Um, and that's how I kind of got into the real estate journey, in the sense of like just watching as much YouTube as I could, reading books, and eventually came across Michael Zuber, the ORAC community, old guy REI, Frank. He was probably the first one I really kind of spoke with and talked to about a lot of this stuff. And I guess it took me about 7 months, and I closed on my first property at the beginning of this month. So it's a grind, but I'm trying to be better and do better for my family. So I guess that's where I'm at. Maybe in a nutshell. It wasn't, maybe not quite a nutshell. A little longer.
Congrats,
No,
dude. That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean we
Yeah.
we
Thanks.
connected maybe a few months ago, right? And I know your big struggle was kind of getting on the rental property ladder. So you've been kind of looking at different options and different scenarios. So congratulations, you closed recently, right, on your first rental property. You want to kind of maybe dig into that as far as kind of hidden challenges or struggles you had going, and you used a turnkey company, correct?
I did. But the initial struggle was that my buy box was actually in Memphis. So I know two zip codes in Memphis really, really good, because after going through Zuber's um, course, I was like, okay, I got to focus. So I focus on these two zip codes. I probably know those zip codes better than a lot of people that live in Memphis, right? So I was dead set on Memphis, and I'm in South Carolina, so out of state investing, of course. But once I was getting through that, and I was putting offers in, and I got close a couple times. It just wasn't working, and it's probably my I probably should have or could have stayed with Memphis, but I was I was getting impatient. And you know it's probably a weakness, right? It's like I'm just getting impatient with this, and I thought, you know what, I just want to get my first property. So let me go the turnkey route. I already knew a lot about rent to retirement. I've been doing their course for a long time. I talked to the CEO several times. So I was like, you know what? That was kind of like on the back burner anyway. So it wasn't like I was starting all over. And when it comes to a turnkey company, they've done a lot of the legwork for you. Now you still need to run the numbers. You need to, because they provide you a pro forma, but you got to run the numbers. And but a lot of the other stuff is already in place. A lot of times they already have really good relationships with property managers. They have really good relationships with the flipper, that is putting that property within the turnkey, and insurance and lending. It's kind of like all encompassing, right? So I figured, okay, I did a lot of work in Memphis, and I'm not done with Memphis. I'm kind of looking back into that area now that I've done the turnkey route, and I have a little bit more education and knowledge under my belt. So that's and it turned out really well. I'm in Barberton. I know Harrison knows where that
Mhm.
is,
Yep.
and right next to Akron, and it's a little bit smaller. I don't know that it's considered a city. It might be a city because it has a mayor, but either way, it's kind of a smaller area. And but a lot of the folks that I had worked with, the property manager, the flipper, they actually live there. They actually live in Barberton. So that was pretty nice, and it's a decent area. I do kind of wish it was a duplex and they turned it into a single family. I kind of wish they would have kept it a duplex, but not a big deal. It's a bigger single family now, so it can fit more people, things like that. There's pros and cons to that, I think, but because there's not many it's a 5 bedroom. There's not many 5 bedrooms in that area at all, so it's at the high end of rent. Um, but it's right across from a farmer's market and a lot of like cool things, a cool downtown that you can walk to. So it's pretty neat little area.
Before
Very
we
cool.
before we shoot out some questions for you, I'll do some housekeeping. You do have a YouTube channel, so I put your YouTube channel also in the chat. So we'll give Dennis a follow, and so does Matt Mojo Mindset, and hopefully Harrison soon. But I put all you guys links, and I also put old guy REI guy. He's here. I put his. He's actually has a shirt sale going on for the ORAD event. So if you can go take a look, check out his YouTube video on it. And he's trying to raise money for the Blind Center, where the event's being held at. So the PayPal link is there, and also his YouTube video talking about the shirt. But Harrison, and Harrison, quickly, we had our accountability group for school today. So Vianney might be reaching out to you if we don't get to her question, but she has some stock
Okay.
questions about Tesla and stuff. So I thought maybe you'd be a good resource, but if not, reach out to her in
Perfect.
school. But do you
Sure.
guys have any questions for Dennis and his struggles in getting this first property, or hidden challenges maybe?
I'll say, Dennis, bravo. Ohio's a great place to start. That's where I kind of was. I was trying to buy in Virginia, trying to buy in Oregon, everywhere, but Ohio actually weirdly makes sense. So I understand where you're going there from not being in Memphis. But the question I was thinking about, so you're talking about, okay, 5 bedroom, used to be duplex. Are you thinking about converting it back eventually, or are you just thinking about just keeping it as a single family in the long run?
I really have thought about that. I think though right now it's not on my priority list.
Mhm.
It's like I want to stabilize first. I have the tenant moving in the 4th of November. So I just want to kind of stabilize it, see how
Mhm.
things go over the next year, and then I'll make that decision. But it's definitely on my list. It's just not at the top of the list of
Should be.
doing
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I kind of wonder if keeping that capital for another property might be the better play instead of transitioning it. Unless I see some reason to some really magical reason to turn it back into a duplex.
Mhm.
I think maybe in the short term, it'd be better to use the capital towards something different.
Agreed.
You thinking, since you went with that turnkey company, you thinking about, because they have that team in place, what would be your time period that you let that property stabilized before you think about, hey, maybe can get another turnkey property in that same area, same neighborhood, same zip code, etc. Is that something that's on your plate, or kind of to be determined, depending on how this first one goes?
I think it will depend a little bit, because while I did enjoy the process, for the most part, maybe about 80% with rent to retirement, there were a few things that I was a little bit annoyed with, a little bit frustrated with, that I felt I could have got around those things if I went the more conventional way and just like found a place in Memphis for $85,000 and put my own property manager in there. Um, because I know some people around there too. I have family in that area. I have a couple other mentors, so I think I could have just. I had a really good real. Well, I have a really good real estate in Memphis. He's really good. He invests in the same areas that I'm looking at as well. So I don't know the turnkey. What's one of the cons of turnkey providers? It's a premium price. You're
Mhm.
doing a premium price for something that you could have gotten probably for $40,000 less somewhere else, right? Even in that area, like even in Barberton or Akron, you could find something very similar for a much lower price, right? So you're paying that premium price because they're doing a flip, right? They're putting a bunch of money in there to change it up, make it look nice. The building was built in 1898. Doesn't look like it, from the inside, obviously. So you're paying for a lot of that. You're paying for um, I don't think upcharge is the right word, but basic rent to retirement has to make money too, right? So the flipper doesn't work for rent to retirement. He's his own person, and then rent to retirement's got to have something on the top as well, because they're advertising and all this other stuff. Um, so I think it would take a lot longer to And it's I saw Frank's question about a regular tenant. It is a regular tenant, not Section 8. I think really I'm leaning towards not using the turnkey model, at least not the next one. Maybe once I get a couple more, a little bit easier to get those deals done because of the capital.
Mhm.
Then I'll probably look maybe back at the turnkey model. But I'm actually some. Here's one of my weaknesses. I'm talking about weaknesses a lot, but another weakness I have is I have a hard time focusing. So I got analysis paralysis, because I had a hard time focusing on one area. Once I finally found Memphis, it was a lot easier. But I've been looking into that vending machine thing that Bo was talking about on Zuber's channel. So and short-term rentals, because I'm in a professional relationship, I guess you could say, with Tony J. Robinson, because I'm doing private money lending with him. So I've been looking at both of those, and my wife is the only thing she even cares about is short-term rentals. That's the only thing she wants to do. So for me to get her to do anything real estate, it's probably going to have to be the short-term rental thing.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say. So for yeah, but I mean, honestly, it's like cutting your teeth on. I mean, it's one of those for me. It's like I bought a property that needed some fixing up, some loving up. It's one of those where I don't know if doing the turnkey was helping with that little headache, because I have a lot of headaches now of saying, okay, I got to fix this, I got to fix that. And then, oh my goodness, winter's coming, so I got to winterize. And so it's just, I'm sure that's probably something you don't have to worry about since you
Yeah, I
got the
mean that's
turnkey.
yeah, definitely. That makes sense to me. I think and I don't have a background in any kind of like, maintenance, or, I'm not super handy, just like the normal guy that could maybe do a few little things, but nothing crazy. So I don't really have an eye for it as well.
Mhm.
Um, so I think the turnkey route, because I was in that part of my journey where I was like, I really just need to get something. I just want to
Mhm.
get something by the end of the year. And I didn't want to rush into it, so I'd make a mistake, but I did want to go quickly. And I think turnkey, it allows you to go a little bit quicker, because it's
Definitely.
already kind of packaged for you, right? It's already there. Another side hustle. Well, not not really. I guess like I was starting to work a business where I was gonna do like yard cleanup and stuff with my family. It was just gonna be like strictly with my family. We were gonna do like little things. It wasn't gonna be anything crazy. But the vending machine thing, I am seriously considering that. So I'm still waiting for Bo to get back to me with. I've already done my initial consult with him, but just waiting for him to get back to me on a couple other business options he thinks might be good for me.
That's really cool. So what gets you into the
So
vending
why
machine
is the
side? Is it
wife
just
so interested?
oh,
No, go for Harrison.
Oh, I can answer both of those. Yeah,
go
I
for it?
I
Yeah.
get you. Yeah, so um, I'll start with Harrison's. I think the thought of getting your feet wet as a entrepreneur in that space it's a lot easier, I think, in using, the small business loan. It just, there's not as much capital you would have to put in there. It's a little bit easier to get into it, and it seems to be this package that Bo has where he works with this specific company. They they kind of, it's almost like a turnkey. It's almost like a turnkey company, really. They're holding your hand. They're putting the vending machines in. They're giving you training. They're and if the vending machines don't work out in a certain area, they're going to move them. So it's kind of like, and they give you a mentor to speak with. For I think it said for like life. So they give you like this life mentor. So it's kind of like the, I guess I'm going back to the turnkey model. It's a turnkey model business. So that's, I guess that's why I was thinking about the vending, and that's what kind of interests me on it. In regards to the short term rental and why my wife is only interested in that, I think it has a lot to do with the design aspect. Like she just wants to, that's more her style. Not her style is not finances. It's not, reading. I mean, she likes to read books, but she doesn't want to read anything on real estate or anything like that. So she just doesn't want to have anything to do with real estate in the sense of like, watching videos and networking and all this. That's kind of my strength, is the organization, the spreadsheets, um, the reading on things that most people think are boring. So
Matt, is
Interesting
that
with the
Jess's feel on
Airbnb side.
short-term rentals also, or she's she likes it also?
Yeah, no, I was gonna kind
Yeah,
of
Matt,
say
what's
it's
Jess's take on the
I think in the
Airbnb stuff?
yeah, it's a division of labor in terms of like you said, focusing on yours and your wife's strengths as well. So for us, I think I was a little bit more of the one analyzing the numbers, if you will. So kind of similar to what you're doing, Dennis. And my job, I guess, was to present that information in such a way where it made sense for us to move forward with the deal. Whereas, she's big on maybe the hospitality side of the business. Whereas, so she manages the cleaners, the cleaner coordination. She manages most of the guest interaction. Just other than we have a property management software that does message templates, but sometimes there's those one-off questions that she likes to answer. Um, and then, I think her attention to detail lends best to that role where, we're making sure that the cleaners are removing all types of hair on the pillows, on the beds, on the towels, right? Lint rolling, bleaching, any spots, like et cetera, making sure that cleaning closet is all set up. And then, where I come in is like I said, did most of the work on the front end for the analysis, but then sort of I'm okay in my role as like, hey, what do we need to get done? We need to get more stocks. We need to get more resupplies. She's going to class. I have duty later that day, so in the morning I'm like Swiffering, prepping, staging, etc. Things that like just you just figure out, work out, and make it happen. I guess at the end of the day. So funny enough, like this past weekend we had Taylor Swift come, and so it's like we got like Taylor Swift cookies, and it's like, who's that? Me. I was like the runner, right? So it's like, you kind of just knock out whatever you need to do for the task at hand. So
Wow. Yeah, I would say that I'm a little on the weird side because I do the projections. I do a lot more of the time series analysis, looking at the markets and everything. Where Mrs. Trade Better, she actually goes in and does the actual financials and goes through the spreadsheets and everything. We both don't have the greatest, I would say, customer conversations. So that's why we have a property manager. And so that's why it's like, you know what? You're fine. It's like, actually, the property manager's like, actually, they need this. It's like, okay, cool. Let them have it. So,
Well, I did IT help when I got out of the military. I went a totally separate direction, and I started doing IT help desk
mhm.
because I wanted to get into IT. I felt like that was kind of where everything was at, and maybe I can move to something else. So I have that personality. I didn't really enjoy it. I don't enjoy answering phone calls and doing all that stuff, but I had the personality, I think, to deal with those people that are angry, things like that. So
Mhm.
I do kind of feel like short-term rental would fit me a little bit better in that sense. But like like Frank said, the STRs being a little bit more work. No, my wife does not understand that part, I don't think. So that would be something to definitely consider. I and we talked a little bit about this, or I was sending comments when Tyler was on before about the second home mortgage,
Mhm.
and I don't I don't know, Matt, have you ever used that at all when it came to short-term rentals, like using a second home mortgage so you could get like a little bit better rate? You only have to put 10% down, and you get a short-term rental in a place where you vacation, a decent amount. Have you ever done anything with that?
have not.
Okay.
I know what's pretty popular was the DSCR, the debt service coverage ratio loans. But in our situation, right, we were able to just utilize the VA loan um, to kind of capitalize. It was like the tools that we had in our tool belt at the time. Took advantage of that opportunity. But for subsequent properties, we obviously, if we, use our full VA entitlements, what we need to do is explore other options. So, what does that look like? Probably an FHA 203K loan if we're doing a renovation, or like a construction loan where it's like an owner occupied, but you wrap the loan costs, into a loan amount. So it's a single mortgage. So those are our initial kind of options, what we're looking at right now. But that's if we were to move from here and find a place that we could do like sort of that live in flip, since we'll be in New Orleans until 27. So
Mm.
um,
I wish I would have thought about all this. See, like I said, I didn't start my journey until the beginning of this year, and I really wish I would have kept the houses that I bought as I was going different areas, getting PCS to different areas in the military. So I try not to dwell on that too much because it's just depressing. But there's like I was stationed in Maryland near Baltimore, and we had a nice house there that I think it cost us 275 when we got it, and when I sold it, I think I made a couple $1,000 because it was just, if I would have just waited a couple years, it would have been double the price. And so it's just it would be good to. I wish I could get my wife to either do house hacking, or we just keep using that VA loan while we're here and move every year or something like that, because that'd be great for the short term rental, especially in the Charleston area.
yeah, no, that's I was going to say a point that um, Ned and Mark and I talked about last week was you know identifying what phase of life you're in and having that sacrifice. So for Ned and his wife, like they had their relationship while they were actively doing the house hack versus living in a single family home like a 4-2, and then having to revert back to that lifestyle of having that house hack is it's a lot of sacrifice that I think sounds good on paper, but once you get exposed to a different type of lifestyle, like, you really got to be, um, certainly on the same page. If you're like, hey, like, we're gonna revert this lifestyle just for like the immediate time, like 2 to 3 years to kind of get ahead. If you were to kind of do that house hack, so it really kind of just depends, like you said, on what phase of life and what your lifestyle is at the time, because it's certainly not for everybody. If people have kids and family, like house hacking is like you said, it's like not as realistic, or it'll just require a lot more sacrifice.
Right. And I was thinking more of the house hacking in the sense of like multiple units on a property, because I have found a
Mm.
couple that were like that. So, we would stay in the big house, and then because I have a bunch of kids, and, we would rent out the other one or two or three or whatever else is on that property. So that was kind of my thought. But yeah, I'm still kind of working that angle a little bit to see if she'd ever be willing to do that.
Well, Dan, I know you mentioned, you kind of, you worked at Rent to Retirement, you had some relationships with them, but was there any other turnkey providers that you connected with or reached out to?
Actually, I did. Yeah. So I did work a little bit with Ollie from Hipster Investments. So, and that was one that Frank had brought up. There's actually a couple others in Memphis as well. There's Memphis Investment Properties, I think, is one. And I feel like there might be another one, or I might be thinking about there's a guy that's on YouTube. Man, I've lost the name, but basically he's a real estate agent, and they're not a turnkey property, but he has lending, and he has his hands in a bunch of different areas, so property management, lending, um, you know, maintenance, everything like that. And he does these by zip code YouTube videos. It's really good. It shows, hey, how many houses were sold last year compared to this year. What was the makeup? Was it a 3-2? Was it a 2-2? Whatever it was. And they just go through every zip code in Memphis and kind of give you the down and dirty of that. So not a turnkey company, but they will work with you. I still get his emails, and I look at them every so often. It just comes out with, he sends a performa, shows you, what's on the market. It's all the same stuff that I was looking at. So I was going through every day looking at these zip codes. So I already saw all of these, but they're a good way to kind of like get in and have a little bit of backing when it comes. Not quite a turnkey company, but somebody that's been in the Memphis area for a long time, has a lot of properties, and knows a lot of the folks that you'll need to work with. So, yeah, I guess those are the three that I worked with a little bit, and didn't do anything with them, but still have them on my list to check out every so often.
Nice. What made you pivot out of Memphis then? Was it
So
because of
any
just
new investor?
cost, availability? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, frustration, really. It's kind of, yeah, I pivoted out of Memphis because of frustration. It was just felt like it was taking too long. And every time there was a certain mentor that I had there, where every time, I went to that person and said, "Hey, what do you think about this place? What do you think about that place?" It was very just like the negatives, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's like only the negative things about the property, nothing positive, no way to make some of those negatives into a positive. So I kind of, yeah, just frustration really was the big
Gotcha.
thing.
So any new investor looking to get started, you would say key properties a decent route to look into, or thumbs up, thumbs down with your experience?
I I think it's a I think it's a good way to get in, especially if maybe you're a little bit older, and you're not quite you're at the point where you want to be done with this in like 5 years, 5, 7 years, maybe 10 at the most. I think turnkey could be really good, especially if you have access to certain retirements that you've been building up, right? So I mean, that's what I did. And if you feel like you just want to, I think like Harrison mentioned, cut your teeth on getting into real estate, yeah, turnkey is a great option to go. I think I would probably, I like rent to retirement, but I kind of wonder if they're a little too big for their britches a little bit, because they just have a lot of clout because they're on bigger pockets and all this other stuff. I think I would probably go with one of the smaller ones next time. Maybe somebody like Hipster Investments or Memphis Investment Properties.
Oh, nice. All right. You guys got any questions for Dennis and his experience with the turnkey providers, or do you guys want to head down the rabbit hole of kind of the Rogan interview this
Ooh. Okay.
weekend?
One more
I guess.
question
Well,
before we go down there.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I'll hit that one statement that Joe put in there. Zuber did a video on the abuse of second home mortgage loan. I keep hearing that, and I get it, and I think Tyler was kind of talking in that way, like people were just abusing it. And there's a lot of stipulations, and there is. I just some of these stipulations are ambiguous. It says you have to stay at the house for a certain period of time. That's all it says. It doesn't say you have to stay there for 2 months out of the year. It doesn't say you have to stay there for 6 months. It just says you have to stay there for a certain period of time. Like, what does that even mean? I mean, that's directly on the federal, website, or not the federal website, but the website that was showing different types of mortgages. But I don't know. I guess some people would abuse it because they want to squeeze as much money out of it. But I mean, I don't know how to tell people legitimately that it would be a vacation home for us. We would want to try to go to a place that we go to very often, and that's where we would want to have our second home. So, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Last question
that's a
before we
great
change
lead
topics.
into Trump and Rogan. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask one last thing regarding so what
No,
made you think about going outside further out and not like invest in South Carolina? So since you're saying you're near the coast, like maybe going further up north, towards Myrtle Beach or something like that.
Well, a short-term rental, I do actually want to do in Myrtle Beach. It might be over. I don't know if
Nice.
it's oversaturated or what, but I think we have a good eye for that area and could probably make some of the room and the design a lot better than a lot of ones that are there. Because they, we've stayed in several that are there, and a lot of them look nice, but we haven't stayed one that's really had a great theme to it. Like you think about like short-term rentals down in Orlando, and they have to theme it like crazy, or else you're not going to get anybody, right? Because they're just going to go stay at the Disney resort instead, because if
Mhm.
they want to have that experience. But the reason why I didn't stay in South Carolina, I tried to look at my area, and I tried to look at the area I moved from, because I knew that area really well in North Carolina on the coast.
Mm.
Um, it was just really, really difficult to find anything that was cash flowing.
Gotcha.
Now there's some people that are doing it. I mean, there's some folks in the school that are in Greenville, South Carolina, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't able to really find much. It was really tough, especially in my area. I think I was able to find maybe 3 or 4 properties in this area of like the Charleston, the Low Country area, where it cash flowed. But one of them was a all cash. It had to be all cash offer. The other one was it needed 50K in repairs, and then it wouldn't cash flow. If we had to put up that much money. And then the other one was like, was a townhouse. And at first I was like, okay, well, let me look into this townhouse thing. Maybe there's, it's not really, yeah, it's not a single family, but it's similar to like an apartment, and it's better than an apartment because, you might be connected to one person or something like that.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know is there is, and I wish I could remember um, what the term is for it, because different term that I had never heard about. It wasn't an HOA, but there was some other thing with the townhouse. I can't remember what it was called, where it ended up being, I think it was $125 a month. So it was significant enough that the cash flow was totally, wiped out, or like half of it was wiped out, something like that. So I guess that's why I still look every so often. I haven't, like, really kind of put a buy box and studied it, but I am in this area, so I kind of know what's being built. So I am looking at some of the new construction around here, see if I can get a good deal there. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Cool.
I want to say what's up to Kyle Walbridge for stop to call your landlord on social media, but check him out too, because he just did an interview with Aaron. I mean, the hybrid real estate. So go check out his podcast that just came out today. But yeah, I think you talking about the second loans and things. I think that's a great kind of lead into the Trump and Rogan interview on maybe how maybe people there's a gray area there, right? And I think that's where a lot of people get confused about maybe their impression of Trump or their belief in Trump. So did you guys get a chance to check out that 3 hour long podcast?
Yep.
Yeah, it took a couple morning walks, but it was ended up getting through it. I'm just waiting for the Kamala
Midway. I mean, I think
one to join.
no, she is.
You don't
I
think
don't
so?
think she could do. No way she could do 3 hours. Not at all. No. But I think Trump does a lot better in these long form type of things where you actually kind of hear his whole stories. I mean, yeah, he kind of goes off. He does the weave, like they're saying, right? But if you hear him in his long form, it's easier to kind of understand who he is as a person. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I agree. I'll follow up with that. I was almost pleasantly surprised by it because I will be honest, I'm that one person that's probably on the fence still trying to figure out like I'm going by policy. I'm not going by person on this one. So, but this one is more like, yeah, he came across a lot more likable because you're always, when people are talking, it's like, oh yeah, he's a really likable guy. It's like, well, we always just get short factoids, short snippets of, okay, that's interesting. But no, Joe actually really brought a lot of personality out of him, um, and I guess the interesting part was that he just did basically kind of I don't want to say like a vanilla question and answer, and then waited for everything until the very like last 10 minutes of is like Joe Roganisms. I was just like, okay, it's like I know we're trying to be correct on this one, so. But overall, I was actually pleasantly surprised, and he did give the shout out for Kamala. It's like, hey, come here. It sounded like she was a no show for the for whatever he was trying to run. So
Come on, Dennis, don't be shy. I know you have a lot of this.
I mean, I thought it was a great conversation. He did lose me a little bit at the end when he started talking about like aliens and stuff, and that was Joe Rogan, not Trump
Right.
necessarily, but then when they started talking about aliens, I was like, okay, come on now. I mean,
Gotta watch out talking to them
I
pilots, man.
yeah, it's true. I mean, I think they mentioned that too. There is a
Yeah.
lot of pilots out there that say that they have seen things like that. So I definitely wouldn't say you're seeing things, or because I think they're truthfully feel like they saw something, right? So, but and I love, one of my favorite movies is Independence Day. I love that movie. I just
Yeah.
when I guess I guess more like, yeah, sure, open up the stuff about Area 51 or whatever. Yeah, I don't care. Like, let's see let's see what's in there. But it just wasn't something that I really cared about. Like, it's just like, I know Joe Rogan cares about it, but I didn't really care about that type of stuff. I'm I think I already knew a lot of that stuff about Trump, when he was talking, so it wasn't like a big reveal to me or anything like that. But the amount of people that watched that, I think by the time I watched it, and I watched it like the next morning, pretty early too, there was already, I think 17 million on YouTube at least that had watched it. So it's crazy. I think that was the big thing. Like I hope we still have some folks on both sides that are like kind of open minded. They don't, or in the sense of, it's my dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I know the numbers was like on pace for, I don't know if you guys saw the Bruno Mars video, APT, with Rose. I mean, like they were both like a million an hour. And that's how Trump and Rogan were going along as well. So that was hilarious. I was like, so people are really watching this. And I agree with Dennis. It's all about being, yeah, I was trying to be that open minded person. And so that's why I was very, very pleasantly surprised with it.
Yeah, so I think just kind of to finish up the thought was that, I hope there were those people that I imagine there's probably not that many undecided at this point, but I do hope that there were some that were undecided that were watching and just kind of were, not so they weren't getting triggered, and they were just like, I'm just going to listen to this guy, even if I don't like him, and, just see what he says. And yeah, he does, like Mark said, he does ramble. It's not a weave. It's a ramble, I think. That's just my personal opinion. But, he does sometimes come back. But there's so many times when I'm just like, man, you could have answered this so good in just a short amount of time. And it would have been a nice, like, kind of clip, that you could have used. But then he kind of goes off sometimes. So.
What do you guys think about? I've been noticing people are like, it's being suppressed where, you go on YouTube and you try and search it. It's not really one of the main videos being promoted, even though it has like a very high viewer count, right? So people are like, it's being suppressed to the viewers as far as searching. So I find that pretty interesting on how it's not showing up on their main page, I guess, YouTube's page.
I wasn't surprised. I mean, even because I actually had to type in Joe Rogan and then actually click on his link, and then the interview
Yeah.
showed up. So that's a fun factoid. I didn't think about that. It's just sometimes when I'm looking on YouTube, it's like it's just not going to show up anyway. So I just call it is what it is.
Joe V has a question. It says, does his rally in New York change people's views, you think?
I guess I would say so because I mean he was able to go to New York and come back out of it. I mean everyone was saying New York's gone, let it let it go. It was almost like a 1980s apocalypse film, and I mean so I think that's maybe a step in the right direction for everyone where people are just genuinely interested now. It's like I mean there's less than a week until the election happens, and so I think everyone's saying okay now it's time to actually be serious about this. So.
Yeah, because didn't he have a rally in the Bronx, and the last I guess presidential candidate to do that was, it's been quite some time, like a Republican candidate going to the Bronx, and I think seeing that reaction, seeing the people, and then seeing the message that might be portrayed in mainstream media, and how there's a disconnect, really kind of makes you question like why is this happening? What's the purpose behind it? Is this intentional? And you start going down that rabbit hole, and I think people are coming to be a little bit smarter and saying, why do they think that the normal average person consuming mainstream media is, falling for it? I don't, that could be a case made. So I did think Kill Tony's joke about Puerto Rico was hilarious, and they took and ran with it. Of course, it's like that's just what you do for the optics, for the clicks, for the headlines. That's funny.
Yeah, and they conveniently didn't mention that he's a comedian, and these days comedians they're getting canceled all the time, They can't even do stand up, it seems like, without getting canceled.
I feel like it's coming back though.
So would you
I feel like
guys?
comedians are Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go, man. I was just gonna say, if
No, I
you
was just
guys would you
saying.
guys tune into? No, go, man.
No, just saying that. Yeah, it's like comedians are actually finally coming back. I was gonna follow up with that. Um, I was like, because after I watched Joe Rogan, Tim Dillon's podcast with JD Vance came out, and that was a hoot and a half. I don't know. Tim Dillon always does a great time interviewing anybody, and I was kind of hoping he'd interview Trump too, because I would just like to see how off the rails it would go. But I don't know.
Come on, I know you guys got more to say about the interview or Trump, Rogan, or what else do you guys think? What do you guys think of the country
What
right
would
now?
what would be an
Is it like,
what would be an interview that you look forward to?
good question. No, I mean, I would
That's why I
love to
keep inviting me.
see Kamala do a long form interview with someone and just like they said, just kind of not just talk to her. Like I really don't know who she is. I've everything just seems so scripted or read off a teleprompter, and just have her sit down and talk basically. Whether good or bad, but kind of be out there and show who she really is. Yeah, I don't know. Did Theo interview Vance? I'm not sure if Theo Vaughn interviewed Vance. I know he interviewed Trump.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it came out. I think it came out before Rogan and Trump. But dude, he's got some funny interviews with Theo Vaughn. Man, he's hilarious.
Yeah. So okay, well, on that note, what do you guys think about people tuning into podcasts or social media for their news? Right? Like I think they showed how like you guys talking about how much people tuned in for the Trump and Rogan interview, right? And then I think they showed like Kamala's rally. I forget where it was, but how much people barely and the amount of viewers, right? So it seems like podcast formats are a way that a lot of these people are putting themselves out there now. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the future. Really, the future is now. That is the way to go, I think, to reach the most people. Because, like, the if you look at Trump's rallies, like specifically the one in New York, if you go to MSNBC, um, you'll see little snippets of it, and then it'll go to split screen, and the commentator starts saying, "Okay, well, we're not going to show all of this because it has, you know, it's fake news or whatever it is, and they just kind of give their thoughts on it when you should probably be allowing the viewers to make up their own thought, and maybe they're going to come to the same thought as you. I mean, that's fine. That's fine if they come to the same thought as you, but just give them that opportunity at least to listen and to watch and to see, what is someone all about. And I think it happens on probably on both sides, but it just seems like it's a little bit weighted towards um, to one side where is getting kind of censored or not as much airtime.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing that I do like about the older formats is the actual debate, because you can actually see people being disagreeable with each other, because they're going to be, meeting with world leaders. They're going to be meeting with other folks. And I mean, showing the idea of, hey, can you be as cool as a cucumber in tough situations like Kennedy was? I mean, but it's at the same time, it's like if you're watching video versus radio, I mean, two different debates. But that's the one thing that I really want to continue seeing as the next generations for 2028 and 2032 happen, is that there's still some sort of debate format, whether it be them doing a sit down podcast or something like, hey, let's hash it out for 4 hours. Let's get everything, make sure it's done and not have to worry about advertisers. That's one thing I would really love to see.
Do you think there's more conservatives in the podcast realm? Like, have they moved? Because I remember somebody saying that, and I can't remember who it was now, but some sort of a commentator saying, like, we're sort of moving from the AM radio, the conservative side, to podcast now. And I do kind of wonder if that's, that's why things are going the way they are right now, is like, we're the conservative side is actually able to get their message out, um, even though most channels on the television, local channels, whatever else, are usually heavily kind of um, geared towards the left.
Yeah, I would say that. And also, I'd say that the spectrum has changed as well on what's conservative and what's liberal as well. I mean, big on um, big C. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like you feel like that everything's just kind of gone to where everyone's become politically homeless somewhere. And I think the podcasts are just kind of more, I don't know if it's conservative or not, but it's just talking about, I don't want to say just facts, but talking about a long thought out idea. I think that's the biggest thing that's happening that mainstream media has completely lost on. I mean, I remember, back in the day, trying to like get Fox, CNN, Bloomberg, trying to get any form of interview done. They give you 3 minutes. That's it.
Mhm.
And so now that we can do it, I mean, I don't know if it's people are becoming more conservative or becoming more liberal, but it's just more people are like, what's the whole idea that you're talking about? And I think that's what's most important right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point, because I used to hate that,
Oh, yeah.
watching the TV, and they'd be like, "Okay, in 10 seconds, can you tell us this?" At the end of their 2 minutes that they got, and it's like, what are they going to say in 10 seconds? I mean, so yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Hugo. Stay winning. Thanks for stopping by. I don't know when his next live is, but go check out his channel. But he says, as a brown person, I am not offended by the joke. So there's one person's take on it. And we got Kyle still here. He says, younger generation don't ever use the mainstream news. All social media, podcast specific. Yeah, I gotta agree with that also. And then Joe V says, with the election only a few days away, does anyone predict problems pending with the person elected? Example, rioting. What you guys take on that?
I will just say no rioting, but I will say that there will be a lot of lost ballots because it's been interesting. I still get mail from Oregon, and they're saying, oh, yeah, there's going to be no election centers. It's all mail in ballots now. Just like, okay, that's going to take forever today to figure it out. And I mean, I think that's going to be where the controversy is.
Ask why.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Why can't we, go in person?
Yeah.
Do it the traditional way, not involve computers, paper ballots, a little old school. You can count them all. You can get your result. It makes you ask why would it be intentional that they're, swaying one way or another?
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to actually work polls when I was in high school and college because it's a great way to make a few extra bucks. And you're doing a whole day's worth of work. And I mean, you have people of all different, races, creeds, and everything. It's just like, hey, I'm here to make sure that everything's done fairly, and I'm here to make a few bucks. I mean, I think I feel like it should just continue that way.
Yep. Joe V says show identification. It seems so simple, right? Like they said, right? Not
Costco figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they said, right? Like, is that a cat? What is that going across your screen?
Dude, not even phased, bro. It's just
what is that?
Part of doing
is that
a live,
cat?
Man. That's Fiona, right?
I didn't know you had a
little
cat.
Beast. She's a chiller though. All right, don't even act like.
No, that's cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, what else you guys want to dig into? You guys want to dig into anything else? Anything except for the Bears game? If you do, I will take you off the screen very quickly if you mention the game yesterday. But what else you guys want to talk about? Any more real estate? Whatever, side hustles. Dennis, are you trying to get side hustle for your video game? I know you do a lot of content on playing video games and stuff on your YouTube channel. Is that like you're going that Dion route to also get monetized or make money off of that side?
Nah, not really. It's kind of, I don't even consider the games that I play on my phone video games. Like I just like, and I think most people probably wouldn't. They're just not. They're not the typical. But my daughters, they like to play Roblox. And have you guys heard of Roblox before? Okay. And
Yes.
there's this one particular game they love me to play. This game, it's called Dress to Impress. So they make up a theme, like medieval or something, and you got this little person that you're walking around, and you're dressed them up. And I was like, oh, this game is so stupid. But it's fun to play with them, right? But then they said, well, we put up a Roblox video on our YouTube channel, and it got like 20,000 views or something, and then I got 30 extra subscribers with one, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll do that then. So I was thinking about trying it, thinking about trying this whole like Roblox Dress to Impress and see if I could raise my subscribers a little bit and just see if it works. I don't know. I'm still kind of looking for my story, I think, on YouTube.
Joe V, Kyle, if you want me to mention your guys' comments, you need to super chat it because I will not repeat any of those comments that you folks are men about the Bears game yesterday. Did you guys see that damn Bears defensive back standing on the side during that last play? He was like showboating. He's apologizing to the fans and everything now. Like, I was like, mother. Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, man.
I mean, you gotta love it when the other team just helps you out in the end, man. So good.
That was wild.
Yeah.
But we can also talk about the Browns
That
beating
was-
the Ravens, and then also the Pats beating the Jets. No.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Jameis Winston, man. He's a fantasy. He just slings it, man.
Mhm.
Matt, read the get the.
What's up?
Yeah.
I didn't see anything. What's going on?
No.
I don't see anything.
Are you really? I didn't know you're a commander.
Dude, I was born in Bethesda, Maryland, raised in Northern
The
Virginia,
one live that
high school in
has to be this one.
DC. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Mhm.
All right. Well, what about you,
See,
Dennis? I
you
don't
know,
even know who's
I
your team.
support
Do you have
all
a
types
team?
of creators.
Yeah, Steelers for many, many years,
Oh.
probably
Oh,
decades actually.
dude, I got a game tonight.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys see that Ravens
We're
fan?
keeping
He
the
got
same. We're
charged
keeping the
or he
same
got-
record actually. The Steelers and my team in our Yahoo
Oh,
Fantasy League. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I must have played Kyle this week in fantasy football because I must have lost. I think
Oh.
I've given up on that team. Sorry ass.
My entire
Dude,
team's
there's been
injured.
a ton of injuries. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I've lost my entire
that's
team.
it.
My last bastion were Brendan Ayuk, who's out for the season now. Now I have Kyler Murray, and he's a ticking
Hey, we
time
don't
bomb.
we don't
So
whine
I'm
on
just-
this. We don't whine on this live. We don't make excuses.
No whining.
We
no
do the
whining.
work here.
No, I'm just spitting facts. Yeah.
Nah. Yeah. So I assume, well, I don't know. I don't know if you guys want to say, like, I on the last live I basically said I'm voting for the businessman. So I don't know what your guys' take is, but that's my take. I'm putting that out there. But like Dennis did say, or I think right. But get out there and vote. It's like a week away. Make sure you do vote, no matter who you're voting for, but get out there and vote. I think that's super important. But yeah, what else you guys want to talk about, man? We'll do whatever's, man. Anything you guys want. I was expecting more fireworks from you, Dennis. Man, I was expecting this to get a little edgy, but
um, yeah, I try to be very civil when it comes to that type of stuff, unless it's like maybe behind closed doors or something. But I have a sister who is very liberal. Um, and there was a time when we used to go back and forth, and it was literally destroying our relationship. So we kind of came to an agreement that we just won't talk to each other about that type of stuff. So I think that probably helped me, my older age, just get to the point where I don't know, I don't care as much. And then especially with the whole real estate thing, like Dion says, it probably doesn't matter. It probably doesn't matter who's in the White House, to be honest. I mean, personally, yeah, I want to see Trump there, but um, I think in the grand scheme of things, 4 years is nothing. So not really too worried about it either way.
yeah, it's just
I would
fun to
say
talk
I'd follow
about.
up with that. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it can be for sure.
Yeah, it's like my whole view on politics has completely changed. It's one of those things where it's like once you buy or are interested in real estate, you're just like all of a sudden, yeah, Dennis, you're right. Everything slows down. You're just like, okay, so at the end of the day, I mean, because I invested in stocks, so I mean, it's like, okay, if there's certain differences and which party's in, which party's out. There's going to be ups and downs, and who's going to go down. That's kind of how you vote for in a weird way. But now with real estate, you're just kind of like sitting back. I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't really care. It's like you care enough, but it's like, but I mean, now I felt like I could take the time and actually sit down and see who I truly, could see benefiting in the next 4 years. And I mean, yeah, I'm leaning your way as well. I'm leaning towards business, and so that's nothing wrong with that either. It's like I agree though, but I would just say all day, every day, do your patriotic duty and vote.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
I like it. I like it,
Yeah.
man.
I forgot, Dennis, are you going to be in Vegas for the ORAD event?
Yep, I'll be there. Got my hotel already. Got my flight already. Got my tickets already. So, yep, committed.
So 3 out of 4 on this live today is
I know.
committed. Wait, let's
Mhm.
see.
Yeah.
Me,
We will see. We will
Dennis.
see.
Harrison. Oh wait, Harrison.
I think
You're
it'll be a
not
lot of
He's in the
fun.
committed either,
military
yeah?
though. It's a little bit. It might be a little bit more difficult.
I'm not trying to
That's
make
not
any
why.
excuses.
He wants to be in for his short-term rental.
Mhm.
It's Mardi Gras
We got
and everything in that time frame.
yeah, it might be a little busy. But we'll see. We'll try to make
Yeah.
things work. I know that'll be a fun event to head out to. And we like going to Vegas, so it's a win-win.
I know.
I
Yeah, I
forget,
just
Outside of
Harrison,
presented
you're
Florida.
it
still
to
on the
my
fence,
wife
right?
as a Valentine's Day
Mhm.
present, so it worked out. I got the thumbs up for it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. The only way I'm on the fence still is if baby girl comes late. That's the only thing. So other than that, I've been given the green light. I just have to give a very nice present. Very nice. I'm sorry I'm not here for a few days. But yeah, so but no, Rick's yeah, I should be
Alright.
there.
Yeah. We gotta get this Joe V guy out of here. I'm sick of his shit. He says, I bet Trump isn't a Bears fan. Yeah. Well, I mean, this was always fun. It's good to have you on, Dennis. First time. I hope
Yeah, thanks.
other
Appreciate it.
people will reach out to you. Yeah, I hope people will reach out to you. If they're thinking about getting started and want to know more about going the turnkey route and your experience with that, and like you're saying, just getting your feet wet and seeing if that's a better option. And yeah, man, we'll do this again, and Harrison, Matt, always glad you guys can come on, and everyone in the comments, thanks for tuning in and making it always fun. But yeah, any final words from you guys?
No, man. Thank you.
No?
Thank you
All
for
right.
having us on. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks.
No. All right, we'll wrap things up,
Yeah.
everyone. So everyone, thanks, and we'll do this again.
All right.
Sweet. Appreciate it.
Thanks.